Welcome back to the Slow and Simple English Deep Dive. Today, we are tackling a scenario that pretty much haunts everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't really matter if you are a CEO or a student or just someone trying to survive a dinner party. It's that exact moment when you meet someone new, you shake hands, the pleasantries settle.
And then they drop it on you.
Right. They hit you with the most terrifying, open-ended command in the English language. Tell me about yourself.
It sounds so benign, like it's supposed to just be a simple icebreaker. But for most of us, it triggers this immediate existential crisis.
Yeah, your mind just goes totally blank.
Exactly. You forget your own name. You start wondering, well, I was born in a hospital, and suddenly you're just rambling for 10 minutes while the other person's eyes glaze over.
It's the ultimate elevator pitch nightmare. You struggle to find that balance between bragging and just being incredibly boring. But lucky for us, and for you listening, we've actually found a solution. And I have to say, it comes from a place I really didn't expect.
It really does. So today we are analyzing a transcript from the Mr. English channel. Specifically, it's a video titled, Learn How to Talk About Yourself in English.
Right.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, why are we looking at ESL learning materials? But here is the secret. Language learning scripts are often stripped of all the fluff. They distill social interaction down to its absolute, most functional, structural components.
That's exactly what hit me when I first read this. We aren't just looking at vocabulary here. We are looking at a transcript of a conversation between two speakers, Paul and Emily, and what they're actually doing is performing a masterclass in social architecture.
Social architecture. That is the perfect phrase for it. What Paul and Emily do here is lay out a blueprint, what I'm kind of calling the Paul and Emily framework. It's a step-by-step guide to introducing yourself that basically takes all the anxiety out of the process.
And replaces it with actual connection. So, our mission today is to break down this framework. We're going to look at the 6 distinct phases of their introduction and analyze why their specific choices make them seem so incredibly likable. Because by the end of reading the script, I honestly wanted to be friends with both of them.
They do come across as the nicest people on earth. And it's not an accident. The dialogue is highly deliberate. They move from surface-level facts to much deeper personality quirks in a way that feels organic but is actually deeply structured.
Okay, let's unpack this. First, let's quickly meet our players. We have Paul and Emily. They're colleagues, they seem to be friends, and they decide to role-play a get-to-know-you session.
Yeah, and the very first lesson, before they even speak a word of real content, is the dynamic itself. It is a tennis match. Paul serves, Emily returns. Paul serves, Emily returns. If your answer to tell me about yourself is a monologue, you have already failed.
It has to be reciprocal.
Exactly.
So let's look at phase 1, which is the foundations. They start with the absolute basics, location and context.
This is the ground floor. You have to place yourself in the world.
Yeah.
So Paul kicks it off.
He does. Paul says, I am from Canada. Short, sweet. But then he immediately zooms in. He says, I live in a small town. And then he adds a qualitative detail. He says, it is quiet.
Hold that thought right there. Canada, small town, quiet. Now look at Emily. She counters with, I am from the United States. And then she gives us the complete opposite environment.
Right.
She says she lives in a big city. She admits it's busy and noisy, but then she adds the kicker. I love it.
I really love that contrast. Immediately, before we know anything about their jobs or their families, we have these 2 clear archetypes. We have the quiet small town guy and the bustling city girl.
This is what we call the contrast technique. If Paul just said, I'm from Canada, and Emily just said, I'm from the U.S., the conversation is pretty much dead on arrival. It's just data.
Right, it's just geography.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But by contrasting the feel of their environments, quiet versus noisy, they create a narrative gap. They become characters in each other's story.
It gives them something to talk about immediately. And they deepen this with their actual housing situations. Paul lives in a house. And what is the key feature he mentions?
The garden. He specifically says it has a garden.
And Emily immediately jumps on that, saying, I love gardens, but where does she live?
She lives in a small apartment because, of course, she's in the big city.
Which she calls very nice, by the way. She's positive about it.
She is. But why does this matter? If you're listening to this and thinking, who cares about their real estate?
Yeah.
You're kind of missing the point. By stating where they live, a house versus an apartment, and how it feels, quiet versus busy, they're actively handing each other conversational hooks.
That's so true. A garden implies a certain lifestyle. It implies maintenance, nature, maybe sipping coffee on a porch. A small city apartment implies you are out and about, you're at cafes, you're in the mix.
Exactly. Emily hears garden and she can immediately connect because she lacks a garden. It creates a desire gap. It's just so much more interesting than listing your zip code. You are defining your environment so the other person can compare theirs to it.
So once they've established where they are in the vibe of their life, they move to phase two, which is identity and occupation, the classic what do you do question.
This is the danger zone. This is where people usually sound like they are just reading their LinkedIn profile. I am a leverage synergy manager.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares at all.
But Paul keeps it human. He reveals he is 28 years old, and his job, he's a teacher, specifically an English teacher. But he adds a crucial modifier. He says, I love my job.
That positive reinforcement is key. We naturally gravitate toward people who like what they do. If he had said, I'm a teacher, it's exhausting, the kids are loud, the energy in the room just dies.
Right, you don't want to be a downer right out of the gate. But let's look at Emily. She's 25, and she's a student.
Now, student can be a very passive title. I am a student. Okay, great. But Emily doesn't stop there.
No, she says, I study art. And then, and this is the part I really highlighted, she says, I love to draw and paint.
This is the passion pivot. She moves from a role, which is student, to an identity, which is artist. It's not just what she does for school, it's what she does for her soul. She loves to draw and paint.
And look at how Paul reacts to that. He validates her immediately. He says, art, that is so cool.
And then Emily does something really sophisticated socially. She connects the dots. She says, an art student and an English teacher, a perfect team for a podcast.
I loved that line. She took two seemingly different things, art and English, and just built a bridge. We are a team.
That creates immediate camaraderie. It's a we narrative instead of a you versus me narrative. If you can find a way to make your job and the other person's job sound complementary, you've basically won the interaction. You aren't strangers anymore. You're potential collaborators.
It's such a smooth move. Okay, so we know where they are and we know what drives them. Now we peel back the next layer of the onion. Phase 3, the family circle.
Bringing up family can be tricky in a first introduction. You don't want to dump trauma on someone. You want what I call contextual biography.
Yeah, and Paul keeps it very light but descriptive. He has a sister, Sarah. She's younger. And keeping with the creative theme, she studies music and plays the piano.
Notice the pattern building here. Paul is an English teacher. His mom, as we learn, is a writer. His sister is a musician. It paints a picture of a very humanities-focused, artistic family culture, even though his dad is a doctor, which sort of provides that scientific anchor.
It really gives you a sense of the dinner table conversations at Paul's house. Now, Emily has an older brother, Tom, who is 29. Her mom is also a teacher, which instantly connects back to Paul.
That's a really nice thread. My mom is a teacher, you're a teacher. Boom, common ground.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The detail that stops the show. Emily's father.
The chef. Her dad is a chef in a restaurant.
This is such a great detail. And what does Paul say? He asks the exact question we are all thinking.
Does he cook for you at home?
And Emily confirms, yes, the food is always delicious.
And Paul's reaction is pure gold here. He just admits, I am jealous.
I laughed at that. It's just so honest.
But think about the psychology there. We call this the jealousy hook. When you share a detail about your life that makes others slightly envious, like having a personal chef for a dad, it actually increases engagement. But only if the other person feels safe enough to admit it.
By saying I'm jealous, Paul is actually paying her a compliment. He's raising her status in the conversation.
Exactly. And it makes Paul seem relatable because, let's face it, we all want a chef dad. It breaks the formality. They aren't just exchanging stats anymore. They're sharing feelings about those stats. Delicious food is a universal language.
Absolutely. So moving on from the human family members, we get to phase 4, the pet divide. This is a classic personality signifier. You are either team dog or team cat.
It's the quickest personality test in history, and it usually tells you a lot about a person's baseline energy levels.
So Paul is firmly team dog. He has Max.
And how does he describe Max?
He says Max is brown, friendly, and funny.
Friendly and funny. Those are very specific, high-energy words. Now let's look at Emily.
Emily is team cat. She has Luna. Luna is black and white, quiet, and sleeps all day.
This is where I want to connect this back to phase 1. Remember their living situations.
Oh, wait, let me think. Paul is in the quiet small town with the garden.
Correct. Paul lives in a quiet environment, so he introduces a friendly, funny dog to bring energy and life into that quiet space.
And Emily is in the busy, noisy city apartment.
Exactly. She lives in chaos, so she chooses a quiet, sleeping cat to bring calm and peace into her space.
That is a brilliant observation. I hadn't connected those dots at all. It makes their characters feel so complete. Their pets are like balancing agents for their lifestyles.
It creates a beautiful symmetry. And the vocabulary they use really matters. Emily implies elegance and calm. Paul implies loyalty and humor. When you tell someone about your pet, you're really telling them what traits you value in a companion. Paul wants a buddy to laugh with. Emily wants a quiet presence to relax with.
I'm never going to look at my cat the same way again. I think my cat just ignores me, which probably says a lot about my lifestyle.
Yeah, we can analyze that in another deep dive.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. Phase 5, favorites and preferences.
This is the safe common ground. If the conversation stalls, you ask about favorites. It's the universal life raft.
They start with food, and it's a pizza battle.
But again, look at the specificity. Paul doesn't just say, I like pizza.
No, he gets granular. He says vegetable pizza with tomatoes, peppers, and onions.
That detail allows you to actually visualize it. You can see the colors on the slice.
Yeah.
If you just said pizza, it's a generic concept. Vegetable pizza with peppers is a meal.
And Emily,
She likes pepperoni. But then she throws a curveball. She admits pizza is great, but her #1 favorite is pasta.
this is a subtle but really effective move. She agrees with him. I like pizza too, to build rapport. We call that the yes bridge. But then she asserts her own identity. But I prefer pasta. It's a way of saying, we are alike, but I am unique.
Right. Then they move to color. Paul likes blue, like the sky. He calls it a calm color.
Which fits his small town, quiet vibe perfectly.
And Emily likes green, like trees and grass. She loves the color of nature.
Which again fits the pattern. She lives in the concrete jungle, so she craves the green of the grass she doesn't have. She's seeking what is missing from her environment.
And finally, hobbies. Emily is painting every weekend to relax and reading adventure stories.
Adventure stories. That's a key detail. She's an art student, she has a sleepy cat, but she reads about adventure. It suggests an active imagination, maybe a desire for travel or excitement that she gets through books.
And Paul. He's listening to old rock music and playing soccer with friends on Saturdays.
He's the active, social one. Soccer is a team sport. Painting is a solitary activity. Again, we are learning so much about their social batteries just from their hobbies. Paul recharges with people. Emily recharges alone or with her art.
So we have all these positive things. We know what they love. But here is where it gets really interesting. Phase 6. The bonding power of dislikes.
This is my absolute favorite part of the source text. And honestly, I think it's the most important part for you, the listener, to understand.
Usually people think introductions should be 100% positive sunshine. I love this, I love that, everything is great.
Which can feel so fake. It can feel like a sales pitch.
But Paul and Emily dedicate a whole section to what they do not like.
And it creates a much stronger bond than the likes do.
There is actually research on this. Sharing a negative attitude about a third party or a situation bonds people faster than sharing a positive one.
Let's look at Paul's dislikes, food-wise.
Olives. He hates the taste.
Which is controversial. A lot of people love olives. I love olives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But taking a stand on a low-stakes issue like olives makes you interesting. If you like everything, you're flavorless. By saying, I hate olives, he invites debate. It's playful.
And his activity dislike, waiting in long lines.
Universal.
Yeah.
Completely relatable. When he says that, everyone listening nods their head. He's validating our collective frustration. He's saying, I am a human being who gets annoyed by inefficiency.
Now, Emily's dislikes. Food, spicy food, very hot food.
Which implies she has a sensitive palate. It's a protection mechanism.
And her activity dislike, this one really spoke to my soul. She does not like waking up very early. She is not a morning person.
I like my sleep, she says.
And Paul validates her again. He says sleeping is very important.
This is the real psychological insight here. We call this the pratfall effect. When a competent person admits to a flaw or a clumsy habit, their likability actually goes up. Paul is a teacher. He loves his job. He plays soccer. He sounds almost too wholesome. But then he admits he hates lines.
And Emily is this cool art student living in the city, but she admits she just wants to sleep in.
It humanizes them. Sharing dislikes builds trust because it reveals vulnerability. It says, I'm not perfect. Here's what annoys me. And that allows the other person to drop their guard too.
So we've gone through the whole transcript. We've seen them build this relationship from scratch in about, what would that be, 4 or 5 minutes.
Probably less, yeah. and yet I feel like I know them.
Let's synthesize this. Let's recap the Paul and Emily formula for our listeners. If you have a mental notepad, get it ready. This is your checklist for the next time someone says, "Tell me about yourself."
Okay, here we go. Number one, name and context. Don't just say your city. Give the vibe. Is it quiet? Is it crazy? Give them a setting.
Number two, role and passion. Don't just say your job title. Add the why. I study art because I love to create. That pivot is crucial.
Number three, the narrative hook. This is the family or background detail. Give them something to be jealous of, like the chef dad, or something that shows your roots.
Number four, the totem. Your pet or your lifestyle symbol. Are you the energetic dog person or the chill cat person? Use that to signal your energy level.
Number five, specific favorites. Don't be generic. Don't just say food. Say tacos with extra lime. Specificity is the hook that catches the memory.
And number six, the humanizer. The dislikes. Admit to a small, safe hatred. Olives, traffic, early mornings, show them you are real.
And as Paul points out in the text, and this is absolutely vital, you don't need to say everything at one time.
Right. It's not a monologue. You drop one hook, see if they bite, and then move to the next.
It depends on the situation. If you're in a class, maybe stick to name plus job plus why you're learning. If you're at a party, it's name plus hobby plus dislike.
Emily gives a great example in the text. She says, "Hi, I'm Emily. I love to paint and listen to music." That's it. That's the bait.
And from there, the other person asks, what do you paint? And you're off to the races.
The source text frames the question, "Tell me about yourself," in a really beautiful way at the end. They say it's not a test, it's an invitation.
An invitation to share a little bit about you. That perspective shift is everything. If you view it as a test, your brain freezes because you are afraid of being wrong. If you view it as an invitation, you can relax. You are just RSVPing to a conversation.
And Emily's final piece of advice in the transcript is probably the most important technical tip. She says, "Keep it simple and be friendly."
And she adds, a smile is very important too. It sounds cheesy, it sounds like advice from a grandmother, but in behavioral science, warmth is the primary trait we judge people on in the first few seconds. Warmth beats competence.
So, smile, say you hate olives, and you're good to go.
Ideally not in the exact same sentence, but yes.
So what does this all mean for us? It means we can stop dreading introductions. We have the script, we have the Paul and Emily architecture.
We do. But I want to leave you, the listener, with a bit of a provocative thought, something to mull over that comes from looking at this data.
Oh, I like a good thought experiment. Lay it on me.
Well, Paul and Emily bonded over a mix of similarities and differences. He's country, she's city. He's dog, she's cat. He's blue, she's green. They complement each other like puzzle pieces.
Right. They fill each other's gaps.
But imagine if you introduced yourself only using your dislikes. This is the anti-introduction.
Only the dislikes, like a Seinfeld episode.
Exactly. Imagine walking up to someone at a mixer and saying, "Hi, I'm Paul. I hate olives and waiting in lines." And the other person says, "Hi, I'm Emily. I hate waking up early and spicy food."
That's bold. It's definitely memorable.
My question is, would that actually create a faster, stronger friendship? We often bond more over shared miseries, hating the same boss, hating the same traffic, hating the same bad coffee, than we do over shared loves. It's literally called social glue.
It's true. If I met someone who also hates waking up early, I feel an instant kinship. We are soldiers in the same war against the alarm clock.
Exactly. So try it out mentally. If you led with your dislikes, who would you attract? Would you attract people similar to you? Or would you attract people who love the things you hate, creating a debate?
That is fascinating. The No Olives Club. I feel like that's a very strong tribe.
That's a powerful tribe.
Well, on that note, we are going to wrap up this deep dive. A huge thank you to Paul and Emily from the Mr. English channel. Even though they are fictional role players, they have taught us a lot about being real.
And thank you to you, the listener, for spending this time with us. Go out there, find your garden or your busy city, and don't be afraid to tell people about it.
And maybe mention that you hate lines. It works. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye for now.